Okay.
Hello, everybody. We're here with the Learning Circles because we couldn't come with a better name.
It's still a pretty good name. Yeah.
And we have Craig here too.
Yep.
And Craig was just talking about flying cars.
I was.
And I'm sure he's going to tie that back to XAPI somewhere and learning.
Well, not really flying, but self-driving or self-propelled. Before I get into that, I should say apparently the Google self-driving car had its first accident that it might be culpable for. Recently, I think it ran into a truck. But I don't know if I believe that. I have a feeling that, I don't know, there are a lot of self-driving car haters out there. Anyway.
System overload.
Yeah, indeed. So what I was saying is I was talking about a particular project that we're working on here to kind of highlight the training and learning architecture that ADL is working on. And we're creating an intro video, an animated intro video. And I don't want to give too much away because, you know, it should be pretty cool. But one of the scenes in the video involves the inside of a self-driving car. And I was just thinking about it, you know, because it's going to be an animated video. We were thinking, okay, what does the inside of a self-driving car look like? You know, you don't really need a steering wheel. We think we do because we're going to be like Will Smith and iRobot. But in fact, you know, you don't want that at all with self-driving cars. You want them all kind of, you know, connected to each other and then propelling themselves down the road at the optimal speed. You may not need a windshield per se. And this is where I branched off and asked you, Enzo, if you'd ever seen Black Mirror, to which you said no. And I said, you need to go watch Black Mirror. There's several episodes produced by the BBC, I believe, I think. You can watch it on Netflix. The very first episode of the very first season is freaking insane. It's a very interesting situation, but all of the stories...
Is it the one with a pig?
Yeah, that's
I watched that first one and I gave up.
Several, no. They're really awesome, but like there's one much further down the I think in season 2 where the people live in these compartments that the walls of the compartment are all, you know, huge screens and they're seamless. So you can see you're looking at a screen, but it looks like you're looking out into a field, right? So we were thinking about the self-driving car and thinking like, well, you wouldn't really need a windshield. What you would need is a bunch of cameras on the car and then a display on the inside of the car to show you, you know, to show you the outside world. But the good thing about that is that you could have an interactive display as your windshield, let's say. But the actual outside of the car could be entirely covered, you know, not showing who's on the inside of the car. But you could see out because of the cameras that are mounted on the car, giving you the illusion of being able to see directly ahead of you to the side. But what it would allow you to do is actually mount heads-up displays on those on that glass or whatever you want to call it. So you know, we're still thinking about that. That's
augmented reality, right?
Well, it would be.
You know, it's funny that just the other day I was driving down the street and I was thinking, how unsafe is it that we have glass right in front of us? No matter how safe the glass is and thick, wouldn't it be ideal if the cars were actually completely locked in metal and so that kind of...
I don't know actually. I feel like, well, back in the day they were terribly dangerous because they were just using window pane glass. Now at least we have glass that is made to shatter in a way such that it crumbles and it becomes, if you've ever busted a car window or something like that, you'll see it just turns into like little pieces of glass that are not nearly as deadly as what it used to have these huge panes that would cut people on their heads off and stuff. But I don't know. I would be interested to know that, Enzo, if it were actually safer to have something encased entirely in metal, because you have to wonder, like with the rollover. How that would affect rollover and things like that. I don't know. You're probably right. It would probably be safer to make it like if you had a Prius that was just like a impregnable steel, whatever, like a tin can. And then,
and let's bring this back to learning, right? Because we're talking about people's heads being cut off and all that. That feels like a normal day for me, like a chicken with the head cut off.
That's what I'm having lunch while we're doing this, so I don't care. But
I think that That's something that so what you guys are doing basically is trying to think outside the box with the user experience, right? And that's something that we normally don't do for learning because we've gotten so accustomed to just using tools in a traditional way, like PowerPoint and Storyline, Captivate, etc., that we conform to the standards that are plainly in front of us with templates and things like that.
Yeah.
We forgot to, even those tools have the ability to create different experiences that are not just click through.
Well, that's, I obviously, ADL where I work, it is a government research and development facility focused on learning, science, and technology. So that's kind of what all we work on, is either directly working on or maturing and facilitating learning technologies so they can be adopted within the Department of Defense, the federal government, and then the industry and academia beyond, or just anyone. Which is why if you go to our website, one of the links on the front page takes you directly to our GitHub account, which links to, which I think I know you've looked at, and so which takes you to a bunch of software that's like, here you go, you can have it, because we're not trying to sell anything. But at the same time, what we're looking at is not necessarily, as you say, Enzo, the same kind of things that are built with the e-learning authoring tools. We're looking at different things like industrial knowledge design, adaptive learning, learner paths, experience tracking, performance, human dimension systems, etc. And so all that stuff is really, important to the armed services, which, if you recall from World War II, that was one of the primary drivers of instructional design and technology, at least in the United States, in terms of instructional design theory, was how do we get a bunch of people who have varying backgrounds and education levels and aptitudes to be able to do the same thing with the same level of proficiency. So that's a pretty big. As a result, we look at stuff that's like non-normal, or at least not practices wide. It's one of the reasons I'm going to South by Southwest in a few days, is to talk about the Experience API in particular, and talk about, one of the things that I want to impress upon the people, at least at South by Southwest EDU, is, we have a bunch of systems for capturing data that exist already where we use specifications, but there's a bunch of like lateral data, and other things that are happening that might be helpful to improving systems that you're using to teach people or train people. And actually, yes, I know, Don. I'm sorry. I'm going to try my best to send, to tweet as much as I can and send stuff up on Storify. Yeah, I know. I'm going to do South by Southwest EDU, and then I'm going to be there for South by Southwest Interactive, and I'll do the same thing. But what we're trying to do is...
watching, I can't see the chat. Dawn just said she's jealous.
Yes, yeah, I saw. I'm sorry, John. Dawn, I will try to tweet as much as I can while I'm there and take pictures and stuff. But the whole point of going there is to tell people about all the things that we're missing out on. And you don't need the Experience API to capture these things, but what is difficult, and what the training and learning architecture that we're working on right now, which hopefully we'll be able to talk about in the, next several months, is getting together things like, thinking about competencies and learner profiles and learner paths, and training people to, basically bringing all the parts in, looking at competencies and badging and how that would actually tie into everything to allow for certification, so that you can actually track, when someone is actually certified and what it actually takes, and allow people's varied experience to allow them, to decide whether or not they're fit to do something, and then measure that performance properly. So I'm going to stop talking about that, but just to sum up, Enzo, that is. It's not that we don't look at, the way that we have traditionally done things in, L&D departments around the world, but we try to at least broaden the horizon so that if someone chooses to do something different, they'll have support, and they'll have specifications to go on and communities to fall back on. So you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it alone.
And you guys are recording a lot of that, right? And on the ADL websites.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think that's a big topic. People are always asking me how do you decide on an approach for something? Because basically, if you give 50 instructional designers the same problem, the same audience analysis, the same needs analysis documents, they're going to come up with potentially very different experiences, even if they use the same tools. right? For say it's a learning piece. But some people might not do e-learning at all and just do a webinar. Others, so everybody has different experiences they bring to the table and all that. And what you're talking about seems to be about innovative. How do we bring innovations into instructional design, right? Or how do we think outside the box? And have you seen any patterns of people that try to bring innovation into their projects? What type of things they're doing? For me, particularly, is whenever I want to do something innovative, at least in my experience, I want to be innovative, at least from my perspective, what I know, what I have done before. I want to try to do something new and sometimes it is something new to somebody else as well. I guess it always is, right? When you're doing something, there's always a chance somebody else hasn't done it, and they'll learn from your experience. You'll learn from what they did as well. That's why I like going to conferences and sharing stuff. You never know when you're going to learn or help somebody think differently about something. So I always challenge myself and try to make this new project, how can I approach it differently? How can I do maybe use the same tool differently, or use a different tool, or not use a tool at all? How am I going to approach this differently? I make it a challenge for myself to try to learn something new with every project as much as possible. So what are other patterns you see out there from talking to people that?
Well, a lot of the discussion that I have recently, at least, has been with members of the armed forces, Army University, a few other members of the U.S. Armed Forces who are trying to do just that, trying to, innovate and, see how they can fit those things into their curriculums. We had a discussion recently with, and hopefully they don't mind me talking about this, with the Defense Language National Security Education Office. And just to kind of get a sense of, their concerns regarding integrating learning technology into their existing curriculums. And we're really happy to do that and talk with them about what might be happening. The trends that I'm seeing is that people are, and this includes some of the people that I've mentioned, they are becoming aware of the possibilities out there. And what is stopping them is not necessarily, or what used to be organizational barriers, where they'd be like, no, we're not going to do that here. What's stopping people now, or at least slowing them down, is they want to have a strategy for, tackling the technologies, and they don't want to just, they've spent years, and you've done this yourself, like outside of the military. And so it's like, and I know I've done it in industry as well. You become like the Prometheus, the fire bringer, and you're like, I have this cool thing, we should try it out. And then like, you have to scale the wall, the freaking Hadrian's Wall of, sorry, let me use a different wall, scale the white wall of like, okay, so we'll try it on this project and it's going to be low risk and no one's going to know about it. Or, you have to get a bunch of permission from people, not because they don't think it's something that's useful to do, but they don't see how it fits in. You have to spend a lot of time convincing people. That's not as much the problem right now. They just need to know, people are trying to figure out how to have a good plan for implementation and for scaling. One of the interesting things that I've noted, at least colloquially, is that, in a lot of places where you would in the past, I know in some of my government work in the past before working at ADL, you would run into some resistance at the, just at the technology level, like what you can actually throw in, but more importantly at the level of existing classroom instructors. But what I'm finding is actually classroom instructors and people who write curriculum and actually deliver it are much more, at least in my experience recently, they're much more likely to want to do things like flipped classroom style, arrangement of curriculum. They want a lot more things to happen outside of the classroom, which is great. That's actually half the battle if you think about it. Like, they're like, yes, we want to do this, we just don't know how to do it. And we want to have a plan for rolling it out. We don't want to spend money on a bunch of iPads and then just have them sit in a room because we don't know what to do with them. That's happened in the past. People, get onto a bit of a technology and then exactly. The diffusion of innovation been funny. I was actually trying to remember that concept, and so Roger's work on diffusion of innovation. I was trying to think of that the other day in a meeting. I'll have to tuck that away for later. But yeah, it's what I'm finding, I guess, in short, or it's too late to be short, but it's what I'm finding is that people are more likely, they're better disposed to wanting to integrate the technology. One area where I think the instructional designers of all stripes really need to probably spend more time really thinking like instructional designers and less like e-learning people is blended learning and the introduction of transmedia as path, like thinking about the pathways, planning out the experiences, like really getting into what's the real experience you want these people to have, if you didn't have to worry about the technology at your disposal. And I know I've said that before, but I mean, we're all very limited by the resources that we have, and I get that, but getting back to people thinking about what they really would like to happen. And the beautiful thing is that I'm starting to see people within the federal government and the armed forces who are doing just that.
Cool. Yeah. There's never a clear. It can never be just a clear way. There's so many ways to bring about innovation and all that. But I always try to think of Roger's diffusion of innovations work as it's always in the back of my head. Like showing the relative advantage to the new stuff based on what you are currently using.
Yep.
And letting people test it out and play with it. And, so there comes the idea that you shared about maybe testing it out in a smaller project to show and have people try it and play with that new idea and experiment with it before you make it a bigger project. And we're still waiting on Brent, who was going to share about CES, Internet of Things, and all kinds of shiny objects that he met at the place.
It's funny. I'm looking forward to hearing from him on that too, because to be honest, I would love to go to CES, but I can't think of a good. Like, I'm going to be at South by Southwest, and I'm really happy about that. But I have like very specific goals, for that event and things I'm going to be doing, and I'll be visiting people in Austin outside of South by Southwest, and doing some really, checking out some people who are doing some interesting work. Actually, really quickly, I want to do a shout out to University of Texas Institute for Transformational Learning in Austin. I'll be visiting them on Friday. I guess it's a week from today. Really looking forward to checking them out and talk to a couple people over there. I'm going to include the URL in the notes in the chat there. But you guys can check out some of the stuff they're working on. Like I, learned about them through one of our armed services contacts, and I just really like the stuff that they're doing right now. So I just want to check them out and see if it looks like we have some, things we could probably learn from them. So.
Cool. I was just part of the technology test kitchen that Phyllis Banner organizes every year at different conferences. This time, Training Magazine, Training 2016.
Right, yeah. How was that?
It was great. I loved the format. We were in the expo hall, but we weren't trying to sell anything. So we just had, because we were all just playing around with the technology, and we had a few organized sessions where we did hands-on labs where people could play with the new technology or with different technology. I was talking about graphics and animation, stuff like that for people that are not graphic designers or animators. So I showed people how to use Canva for creating simple infographics and other types of media like that. And there were other people. I talked about GoAnimate and similar software. Other people talked about other tools like ZebraZap, stuff like that. So I thought it was cool because it kind of relates to the CES thing too. That it seems to be a trend now to call everything smart this, smart that, right? And there was this lady there trying to, Robbie, she was showing all kinds of gadgets, and they were smart, like egg cartons that tell you when the eggs go bad, and all kinds of connected devices and all that kind of stuff. But one of the simplest things that kind of impressed me was, I forgot the name of it now, but it's like a something you put on, you connect to your computer, and then you hover over it with your hands, and it transposes the gestures that you do here onto a software.
Oh, yeah. I think we have one of those, and it starts with an M. It's like Mio or Mimo or something like that. We have one of those.
I ordered one, and I it's not here yet. So. It's Leap Motion. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. Huh.
This one's it's just connected, and you hover. You know, whatever you do with your hands above it, you don't have to touch. No gloves, nothing. Then it translates that movement onto the screen, and you're interacting. For example, dissecting a frog, or you're interact. I guess you could program it to create a whole application there that would, for example, interact with pieces of mechanics, like a car stuff, engines and things like that. And I saw a lot of potential in that kind of stuff. So I was hoping that Brent could show us some of the CS, or talk about some of the CS stuff that he's seen there too.
Yeah.
But what's the name of the things you talked about that you saw?
I'm sorry, say that again.
You said you had something like that.
Yeah, we have a the ADL Alexandria, where I'm sitting right now. We have a lab, which we call the Insight Lab, and it's full of learning technology that we keep, so that when we have people visit the office, they can come by and try out. Like, we have a few virtual reality headset displays, and we have a setup of our virtual world sandbox in there, which exports statements using Experience API, and we have a few other gadgets.
And the ADL GitHub page, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I should actually probably link that. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. But there's a thing that it's like basically a bracelet that you wear around your forearm or your wrist, and it does kind of what you're talking about. Although it looks like the Leap Motion is more like an open sensor thing. This is something that you actually wear on your arm and then do stuff. So, and it allows you to manipulate stuff on your computer. Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I can't think of the name of it though. I don't know.
Don says it's a more sophisticated. Yeah,
kind of.
The thing about the Leap that I thought was really cool is that you don't put anything on yourself. It's just sensors, infrared, whatever it is, that senses your movements as you hover over it, as you do things like that. Even fine movements like lifting one finger or another. There is an interaction as a demo app there that you pluck petals out of a flower there.
Oh, wow.
So it's that precise, And I was thinking of all kinds of implications for medical training and training for mechanics.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, putting physical things together like servers and stuff like that.
Right. Wow, that's really precise. I'll have to check. Well, you'll have to do a little demo or something when you get it, and then you have played around with it for a while.
If I can figure out how to
share
the screen, we'll see. We've got to share the screen and my hands moving at the same time.
Oh yeah. We'd have to. What we could do is we could have two. We'd have another account, and then have that with a camera focused on your hands, in addition to or on the screen, and then. We'd figure it out.
I made it.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hello, Brad. We were here talking about Leap and other innovative tech, that in their application for learning and how to bring innovations into learning. Craig was talking about an ADL lab that they have for learning technologies. You said anybody can see that. So why don't you do in one of our hangouts a tour of that, a virtual tour?
Actually, that's a really good idea. I'll just I'll get on Blab using my phone and then just kind of walk around. Yeah, it's a good idea.
I'd love to see some of that stuff. Maybe next time we do this. I can't promise it'll be next week because we're so involved with these.
I won't be here. I won't be here next week. I'll be on the road.
So let's table that for the next time. We want to see you interacting with the technology, or see somebody else interacting with it. So if you can maybe get a buddy to interact with stuff.
I'll just have someone do the demo stuff, and then carry my laptop and or I'll just have my phone. So
yeah, it's a live test kitchen. I'll call Phyllis and she can come in and see that stuff too.
So speaking of South by Southwest, the other day Brent was on Blab, and I learned that he was going to be at South by Southwest.
Yeah, certainly not presenting, but happy to be there and reporting back out to the community what all is going on.
You have the really nice. So I think you saw this when we were all at DevLearn last year, but Brent has a really nice like camera mount setup, you know, with a mic or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can you show us? Can you show us, Brett?
It's even better. So when I was at CES, I'm a big fan of the Olo clip, which is this little guy right here. So we'll do this in stages. Where the heck is my phone? There it is.
Yeah, it's breaking up for me. Oh, there you
All right. So the Olo clip is a lens that just snaps right onto camera like that. So now I've got a wide angle lens on that side and a zoom lens on the other side. I don't really use the zoom lens that much because it's just a 2x zoom, but I do use the wide angle quite a bit. It's pretty cool. It ends up kind of bending the screen a little bit like most wide angles do. It's kind of fisheye, but it's not too bad. But it definitely gets a better wide angle view. So this is the product that got me introduced to Olo Clip. So while I was at CES, I saw their booth and went up and just started chatting with the people that were there. And I was asking them about, because they saw my rig. So I was videotaping while I was going around. And they said, oh, we've got a new product coming out. And that's when they showed me this case that I now have on my phone. So it's a little bit bigger than your standard iPhone case, a little bit thicker. But it has this nice little ridge in here that is a mounting system for a tripod mount is one of the clips that works. So let's make sure I can show it to you this way. So you take it, you put it on the side, snap it in like that, and slide it down. Instant tripod mount. Okay, so you think that's cool. It gets nothing but better. There is a fantastic little handle attachment if you're going to be doing some periscope stuff.
Wow. And how much commission are you getting, just in case?
I know, right? I should. I've been pimping this like crazy.
Wow.
So this little handle snaps on like that. So if you're going to be like, if you're worried about dropping your camera, you can stick your fingers behind it like that and hold your phone. And this gives you the ability to use your thumb, whatever. Let's see if I can show it to you, and so you can record yourself, do selfie videos, or it just gives you a firmer grip on it. Also allows you to do it this direction by just putting your finger in there and holding it. Just gives you a nice firmer grip on the camera. So that's the other cool thing. Also comes with a little tiny tripod mount that you just snap on same way. All the mounts work the same way. So this little mount is there. So you can just lean it up on the ground. There, maybe that's a better view. So if you're going to watch your videos or do any sort of video editing like on the plane or something like that, you can prop it up. It makes it a little bit easier. Let's see. Oh, and then
the dolly rig.
Then you can, if you want a different tripod mount is in the portrait style. There's the hole. So I can take this one off and mount it on this guy.
Oh, that's perfect for horrible vertical videos.
Yeah, we've had those conversations, haven't we?
Uh-huh.
And there we go.
Nice.
Instant tripod for that kind. Now, this is the other cool part. Oops. Da, 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 da. Okay, this is my favorite part. So, 2 cold shoes.
Cold shoes?
So, you know a hot shoe on your DSLR camera? You know what the hot shoe is? It's the mount on the top of your DSLR.
Yeah.
Here. So this guy right here, this mount right here on top is your hot shoe because it's powered. So you can slide a flash onto it or a special microphone, or you can just attach other things. And it's called a hot shoe because it has power going to it. But if you just want the same mounting capability, it's called a cold shoe. And there's lots of devices you can stick on it, like a flash, or a light, a regular LED light you can mount. And then my favorite, same microphone that I had mounted before, except with this cold shoe mount. Now I can add them both right onto my camera, right onto the case.
Wow.
And this little guy just plugs right into
Right.
my audio jack, and bing, bang, boom, I'm good to go.
Oh, man.
Wow, and then you hope nobody calls you.
Right.
Yeah, sadly that has happened. I'm trying to figure out a way that when I'm in like videotaping mode, I can like shut off all the notifications and all that kind of stuff.
Airplane mode would be the best, right?
What's that?
But then if you're airplane mode, then you can't really broadcast, right? So,
yeah, you can't do the live stuff. So, anyways, I'm really looking forward to taking this rig to South by. It's so much nicer than the old rig. I liked my old rig, but so this was what I used before. Had my tripod, and I would put an iPhone mount here, and then there's the cold shoe here for my microphone, and then on the bottom I put my tripod. So it worked out great. But wow, I was psyched when HoloClip came out with this. And let me tell you, so far in my testing, it's been a dream. So
basically you don't need a ridiculous expensive camera rig or some type of DSLR for $4,000 worth of DSLR equipment to do high quality video, right? Or interviews.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, unless you're really looking for the ability to get greater depth of field, like what you can get with a DSLR lens, like to blur out the background, all that kind of stuff. It's a little bit harder to do that with your iPhone, even with the HoloClip lens. It's not super easy. You can't really get that look, so you don't really have a lot of control. But for like doing Periscope stuff, for doing Blab stuff, for just recording man on the street style video, I mean it's perfect. I mean, you saw how fast it is to hook it up. So I could be in phone mode, meet somebody, go, oh my gosh, I need to do an interview. Snap, 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 boom, I'm good to go.
That's good.
So
so you need to do some interviews since you're going to South by Southwest. There's a lot of music people, marketing people, app developers, and all kinds of stuff like that, all different types of fields, right? Actors and directors. Maybe you should interview a few about how they learn things, right? I always like to learn about how people do things in different fields from our own, and that would be maybe a cool interview series.
Yeah, I think so. There. So when you're getting in for interactive, right?
Yeah, I'm just going in for interactive. So, and I actually found out that my stay has to be cut short because I need to go give a presentation in Washington D.C. So I'll fly out Friday morning, and then I'll have to leave Monday night instead of Tuesday night.
Oh yeah. Actually, that's I think when I'm leaving, I think I have to, because I'm not staying. My second presentation is. No, I'm sorry. I'm staying a day after that. I'm going to stay for the whole of the 14th, and I'm flying out on the 15th. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to cruise to DC for a day and a half or so, and then head home.
You're going to miss President Obama. I think.
Oh, damn!
Yeah, I think he's speaking on the 14th. I feel like it's the 14th.
Is it? Oh, yeah.
Because he got.
I thought it'd be on the weekend.
I don't know, actually. I'm not sure. Let me check it out.
Yeah, it's going to be such. When he's there, it's going to be a circus.
It's going to be crazy.
What?
Yeah. So, for those who, I guess people who are listening haven't heard, both the president and the first lady are going to be speaking at separate events at South by Southwest, and they just added that to the lineup. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how do you say no?
Oh, you know what? No. You're good, Brent. He's speaking on the 11th to kick off as part of the keynote conversation, and she's speaking on the 16th. So we'll both miss her, unfortunately. Here's the funny thing. The funny thing is, like, anyone who spent enough time in DC has been stopped by a presidential motorcade and just kind of had to. You're just going to be there for 15 minutes while, like, a huge convoy of vehicles goes by. You're just stuck for a little while, like 5 to 10 minutes, probably. I don't know what it's going to do to Austin traffic.
It's going to be hell. It's going to be hell. And so I've already decided, one, I'm wherever they are, I'm not going to be.
Right.
And two, I think it'll be cool because if everybody else is there trying to see them, all the other cool interactive areas that have the expo and all the other cool stuff will have nobody there. So it'll be the perfect time to be going and hitting up some of the other venues. So, or
the perfect time to try to get an exclusive with the president and the first lady.
No, because that's what everyone in their mother will be trying to do.
I'm not going to be the guy fighting for that interview. No.
You saw what the Secret Service guy did to what was it? To a reporter at a Trump rally, I think. I think it was a Trump rally. I'm not sure.
It was a Trump rally. Yeah.
So yeah. If you end up on the wrong side of 545, you're not going anywhere. Yeah, actually, if I remember correctly, Brent, you are, because you're coming late, you're staying at less than location optimal housing while you're there.
Yeah, that would be a good way to put it.
Actually, I had the same problem. Well, not as bad. I'll be staying like not right in the center of stuff, but we managed to get a place. I think a bit closer than where you are, but yeah, that will be a thing, like trying to get to and from the location. I'll probably be taking. Well, I have a car that I'll be using, but parking is going to be a problem, and I hear that maybe it'd be better to take public transportation. So
that's kind of what I'm thinking. I've got a car, but I don't know if I'm going to use it. I'm either going to Uber it or something.
Yeah. I just installed Uber for the first time the other day.
Really?
In preparation. Yeah, I just because I like my office that I'm sitting in right now. It is 3.1 miles away from my house, and a bus picks me up in front of my house, literally across the street. I can see it from my. What's that?
You travel a lot too.
Yeah, but you know what? Oftentimes I'm going someplace where interesting.
That's your Uber calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've never been to Austin before. This will be my first time, so I'm gonna have to try to figure out public transit or because I'm a little bit afraid to take Uber because of their surge pricing. I don't want to do like a 2-mile venture and have it cost me $200.
No, you could rent a bicycle, depending on how far away you are. You might be.
But then you have to leave the bike somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what? So the best way is to just do it on foot and then catch a pedicab or anything like that if you need it. But most of the time, you really won't need to get outside of that, like 5 block.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. And so once you get into that area, you're pretty good. So I thought I thought about borrowing my son's skateboard and skateboarding.
Wow.
Through the event.
Guys, hey guys, I gotta run. I'll be back on in a couple minutes. I want to go ahead and make that
we have only about 5 minutes or so. So Brent.
Oh really? Oh, okay. Well then, yeah.
And maybe Brent could share with us a little bit more about what he saw at CES that was innovative.
Oh yeah, I'll have to watch that later. Sorry.
See you, Craig. Yeah, I guess I can, but let's see what besides the cool Olo clip stuff, I was talking this morning on another blab, my morning blab, about the all the 360 video cameras that are out or that are going to be out. I don't think any of them actually that they displayed are or were at the time currently available. Some of them now are, I think, but there was a lot of them. I mean, I think just about every vendor that was an electronics vendor of some sort had a 360-degree camera of some sort. I mean, it's going to be a really big deal this year.
So what would you see the 360 cameras being used for?
Oh, I mean, I see them being used for the same stuff we use regular video for, except now it's giving you a whole different experience, right? You as the user can decide which direction you want to look. Then the camera will pick up everything that's happening all around. And now the viewer, instead of I was talking to somebody about this the other day too. There are people starting to make movies, like creative feature films, in this 360-degree format. And I just thought how incredibly different that must be from a creative perspective, because a lot of what film has been ever since moving pictures started was the idea that you could craft a story based on the vision of the director only showing you what they wanted you to see. So, you know, Jaws was super scary and you never actually saw the shark for like the first 90% of the film, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do in a horror movie when the bad guy normally creeps up from behind, if the viewer has the ability to spin the camera around and see the bad guy coming,
Yeah. I think, well, there are ways. I think people will get more creative about that too. Like, for example, the bad guy is right behind you, and when you turn is when you see it. Like I saw a video during the test kitchen, actually, where I'm looking that way. There's distracting birds all over here. And then I hear some sound. I look to the left, and there's a train coming right next to me right here. So you can play around with that kind of stuff. But it is a challenge, right? For example, when you're filming, how do you really, like, practically hide the crew? Like,
right. That's what I was thinking that this morning too. It's like you've got to hide underneath the camera really and let the camera take pictures all the way around you, because it doesn't really do like spherical camera shooting. It mostly just does the scene, this way. So like, I guess if you get under it or just mount it and then run away and hide behind something and click a remote record button or something.
It seems to be the year of virtual reality, right? 360 cameras, you got the HoloLens and all kinds of VR sets. Cardboard seems to be picking up a lot. I mean, even at the training 2016, we had tons of cardboards, for people to play around with, and you can just get any regular cell phone and put it in your eyes, like, with the rig, and you're in virtual reality, right? You download some special movies and stuff like that with some apps, and you're in there.
Yeah, well, Dalton heard me talking a little bit about that this morning too, and I guess this is something I need to figure out. I need to figure out what actually works with an iPhone, because I guess the Google Cardboard stuff only works with an Android phone.
I think, doesn't the iPhone have the let's see, the Verse app, VRSE app? Does it not have that?
Oh, you can use it for the iPhone. Okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Cool. Let's download that. Yeah, because honestly, so here's my thing. I'm a huge fan of it. I totally believe 2016 is the year of VR, AR, 360 video. I mean, I think everything is going to explode this year, and it's going to completely change what we call immersive and engaging content. It's going to make the stuff we currently make for e-learning just look like old black and white film. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's nobody is going to be wanting to look at the stuff that we currently create once they start getting used to engaging in the kind of stuff that's coming out this year. So, but I'm a huge fan of it, very excited about it, but I have not tried Google Cardboard. I have not downloaded any of the apps yet. I've only put on one like VR headset, and I did it at CES. I got nauseous inside of it. So, I mean, maybe
it depends on the movie you're watching too, right?
What's that?
Roller coasters, you might not want to do that, but it's pretty cool. I mean,
it is cool.
Part of that story, right? Imagine, like, I think the lowest hanging fruit of training ever, it's sales training and onboarding. Imagine you're teaching somebody about your headquarters, right? Like the history around the place, but you're a remote everybody all over. You're an international company, so your headquarters is somewhere in Europe. You do a VR experience where you can actually be there, experience that virtually, and look around you. I mean, there's so much potential there.
I mean, it even goes further than that, Enzo, because a lot of the virtual reality and augmented reality is now also blurring together. Yeah. So Intel has a developer's kit that they've released that has cameras mounted on the front, multiple cameras, and those cameras are angled out. They're gathering data of the environment that you're in and rebuilding that environment virtually, and then adding digital content into that environment at the exact same time. So instead of just having like this window in front of you, like a heads-up display like Iron Man, people mostly think of that as augmented reality to a certain extent.
It's flat.
But this is different. This is taking in all of the data from your surrounding area, converting it into virtual space, and then adding other virtual elements on top of it, and on the fly, which is just insane. And it's a little bit clunky right now from what I saw. But man, I don't think it's going to take long at all for it to be unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that it's a bright future ahead with immersive. Like, talk about immersive learning. We've been talking about immersive learning. I even have an unpublished article about Second Life in immersive learning. Right? It is immersive, but this is truly like you are part of the 3D environment. So I think VR is the new holy grail of training and entertainment too, right?
Yeah, I mean, so I like to think of it like this, like Second Life is, similar to what we originally did a long time ago and called virtual reality. But imagine being, so I don't know if you played Call of Duty ever on Xbox or any type of first-person shooter. Imagine a first-person shooter that, you can put the mask on and do it like, fully in a 3D space, or take it to the next level, do a 3D or a first-person shooter in one of the augmented virtual spaces where you can play the game in your own environment, right? And the bad guys are coming out and existing in your environment.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is crazy. Your brain
kind of stuff would just be crazy.
Yeah, your brain fools you, right? As soon as I put on VR, I have to think. I can't just go like this. I might just touch somebody, but you feel like touching the environment. It's a weird experience, right? And that in first-person shooter games, entertainment, and then training, for example, operating room, and you have tangible objects to interact with. It's language learning, so much out there. I'm excited to play around with virtual reality more too.
It's going to be great.
Now, we talked about innovation, things like that, but we still didn't talk about Internet of Things. I think we're going to leave that for next.
What was the other thing?
Internet of Things, right?
Oh, yeah, that we could devote a whole entire day to that.
Yeah. I think we should probably close for a day. What do you think?
That sounds good to me. I'm sorry I showed up late.
That's all right. We've had fun.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad Don got to hang out with you guys.
We'll see you soon, and thank you, Don, for joining us, and everybody else that's watching there. We'll see you in maybe in a couple of weeks, because Craig is going to and Brent are going to be at South by Southwest. We'll see you in a few.
Yeah, we'll do some live stuff. I'll try to hook up with him, and we can maybe do a live blab from South by.
That would be good.
That'd be fun.
All right.
All right. Take care, Enzo. Good to see you.
You too.